Hey friends, welcome back to the Life of a Makeup Artist podcast. You already know when it's nice, you have to do it twice. So Joseph is back with us.
Hello.
Hi, Joseph. Joseph Carrillo is an accomplished makeup artist and facial sculptor who has successfully pivoted his career to include a unique specialty in facial sculpting, from being featured on events with Fenty Beauty and Byrdie, to name a few, and becoming the personal to a lot of industry insiders and celebrities. Now, Joseph has quickly made a name for himself, not that it wasn't already made, but he is known for his innovative techniques like spoon sculpting, which has gained significant media attention. We're going to talk about that. In this episode, we will explore Joseph's journey in pivoting his career, acquiring new skills, and navigating the ever-evolving beauty industry.
Oh my gosh.
Joseph,
Yeah.
how are you?
Well, thank you for that amazing introduction. I am doing really well. I'm a little tired because I just ran 17 miles, ran, walked, jogged, crawled.
I don't know how.
I know. I'm doing the New York City Marathon with Maybelline.
Uh-huh.
So I'm excited for it,
That's
but it's also
amazing.
just so much work, but I'm good. I am overwhelmed with joy with all of the stuff that's going on in the beauty business,
Right.
and obviously with myself.
Right.
So I'm
So
good.
besides work, how's life?
Life is great. It couldn't be better. I really have been focusing on my mental health for the last 4 years,
Mhm.
and I have gotten to a place where I don't know, I'm just truly happy inside.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I thought I was before,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not until you stop hearing negative thoughts in your head,
Yeah.
whether it be about work or
Mhm.
what you look like or
Mhm.
whatever. And it's
Mhm.
just, it happened. It's like,
Yeah.
I just speak to myself so sweetly. I'm so sweet to me.
I'm a sweetie.
I'm a sweetie.
Okay, that's so funny because we just had another podcast and you guys will hear it next week with Bryce Anthony, and he was saying that he just wants to give himself more grace, and it's so important how you speak to yourself on a
Ay,
daily
ay, ay.
basis.
You-
Like if something falls, don't yell at yourself. Just be like, "You okay? It's all right. Just pick it
Yeah.
up." You know?
We want to end of the world everything.
Mhm.
Everything is just such a big deal.
Right.
And it's just not.
Yeah.
And I realized that you got to take it easy.
Take it easy.
I'm also 41, and it's taken me this long to know that.
Mhm.
But for you guys, know that now.
Yeah.
Just speak kindly to yourself.
I love that. Let's just get right into it.
Oh, snap.
Now, for those of you who don't know, we actually had an amazing episode with Joseph on, getting an agent and navigating, that part of your career. So if you're interested in that, definitely go check that episode out. But today I want to talk about how you pivoted. So how did you decide to pivot from being a makeup artist to specializing in facial sculpting? What was like the driving force? Now, we know that you still do makeup, but what pushed you to that point where you decided to change?
Honestly, it was more of a natural progression. I don't think that it was just kind of, I woke up and I just changed my life.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was more so, I had actually been doing facial manipulations since 2012. Well, since I went to esthetician school.
Mm-hmm.
You had to have a license in Texas to do makeup.
Mhm.
So I learned how to do it. I never used it. I started doing it in 2012 to just kind of get a leg up. And I realized that I was really changing faces.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just thought I would really go into that. And COVID gave me a really nice break. COVID was hard for a lot of us, especially, I was at the peak of my career
Right.
when COVID hit. I was at that point, I was named the head of makeup at E.
Wow.
And then COVID hit. And I was still doing photo shoots for Maybelline, Vogue, Elle, all the things.
Mhm.
And it gave me such a nice break. And was I scared?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I've realized? I wasn't scared. It's just when you don't know things, you think you're scared.
Right.
I wasn't scared. I just knew I was doing something different. And so I was uncertain.
Mm-hmm.
But here I am. I've
Doing
always
it-
trusted my
doing it
instinct
easy.
too.
Yeah.
I've always really trusted my gut.
Right.
I've never been like, when people tell you stuff and you're like, maybe, but like
Right.
when you feel it, and I always have that feeling like,
Right.
now, like something tells me this is it.
Right. So I know that this path is one that is very not as well traveled.
Mhm.
And I would love for you to share how you started to learn new techniques and skills for facial sculpting, because it's not necessarily the same as learning techniques in makeup.
Right. So because I went to beauty school,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'll call it. Because I went to beauty school, I understood what it was to do the massage part.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was just curious
Mm-hmm.
about different modalities like facial cupping and gua sha and actual intraoral or buccal massages. I just got curious. It was just kind of like a natural curiosity. And when it came to the face with makeup and sculpting, it's kind of the same thing. It's like a new game upgraded,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm really defining the contours this
Right.
way.
Right. I love that.
Yeah.
So is there any like particular place that you go to find new techniques, or like, or
You
you just
know,
have to study the face and come up with your own things?
no, like there are obviously a lot of different techniques that, I didn't create the spoon.
Mm-hmm.
I had I learned from a Russian woman how to do the spoon technique, and then I changed it and made it my own.
Right.
I've learned gua sha, bojing, up the buckle, cupping, just different things. And it's just because I'm curious. If I see something new that I think is interesting, like there's these little stones that people put on people's faces. I'm not necessarily interested in that, but a lot of people like that for energy.
Right.
I do believe in different types of energy, like craniosacral therapy. I took that. If you don't know what that is, you guys, that is really cool. Craniosacral therapy. It's just kind of light touches and it just unlocks like inner stuff. Someone did it to me and I immediately started crying. And I'm a no BS person.
I want to
And
do
so
it.
I learned how to do
I want to let it all out.
And so I learned how to do some of that and just putting them together. So it's just always keeping your finger on the pulse of learning.
I love that. Okay, so let me just backtrack a little bit, because I know we're talking about facial sculpting, but a lot of people that might be listening may not be as well versed in what that is and what it entails. So can you tell us more about facial sculpting and what you do?
So facial sculpting can be a lot of things. Facial sculpting can just be a face massage, but what I do is I massage the underlying muscles of the face to reshape and enhance the natural contours. Or even if you have filler or whatever, I can manipulate it and kind of bring it back. So I have before and afters on my Instagram of just people who have had filler, and then it's just kind of like they look younger and better and they don't need to get it as much. Or people who have tension on their chin or jaw, and then it just leaves them really snatched.
Keyword snatched.
Snatched, hashtag.
And then what's the spoon?
The spoon I found is really, really perfect because it has the belly of the spoon is round, right? And so it really digs into the contours as opposed to a flat gua sha. This way I can really tailor to someone's face with the natural contours. So like not everyone's face is the same, right? Everyone's face shape is completely different.
Right.
And so really pushing the belly of the spoon, not hard, but like pressing it around like you would a gua sha, it really just kind of digs into those areas and helps drain, to me, a lot faster than a flat gua sha.
Right.
Yeah, use a spoon. It's good. Especially like when you want to look snatched for a little moment out.
Right.
Get that spoon, honey.
I need that. Okay, so let's talk about personal branding.
Ooh.
How important is personal branding and self-marketing been in establishing your career as a facial sculptor?
Okay. So branding is very, very important. You need to know who you are and what you stand for. Like I did that right from the beginning. I did clean, beautiful, sharp makeup, and that is what I wanted to stand for. And when it came to sculpting, it's just exactly that. It's just now you are enhanced next level, like maximum. And it makes the contours, I don't have to use as much makeup.
Right.
You know, people have that LA Kim K beat. That's not I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm saying that in that was never my aesthetic.
Right.
I can do that. I mean, I have. But it was more about the contours and the shapes. And now that I can get in there and change your face,
right,
it's over.
You're like, okay, this is truly my canvas now.
Yeah, really.
So I would love to know, what role did PR play in getting the word about what you do? Because you're working with Byrdie Beauty, Fenty,
Mhm.
different brands. Like
Mhm.
how, because you might be home learning this thing and be very good at it,
Mhm.
but that's it. You're home, good at it, and nobody knows.
Yeah. You know, the thing with PR, and it's kind of like an agent, but PR is a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
I have been fortunate enough with my personal branding and what I stand for that I have built so many personal relationships with
Mhm.
people that I was always sought out, even as a makeup artist.
Mhm.
Um, with PR, the way that you're going to be able to get one or why they would be interested in you, like my PR found me, was because she has something to shout about.
Mm-hmm.
There is something that stands out
That's different.
about, yes.
Mhm.
Like I'm just not a makeup artist, right? Let's
Mhm.
say it was just makeup in general.
Mhm.
So then I would be a gay Mexican makeup artist from here, blah, blah, blah. And you start tailoring your story to be
Mhm.
exactly that. So they will have something to shout about.
Right.
So it's just your own uniqueness, but you have to really understand who you are
Mhm.
before you find that for a PR to, they can shout at the rooftops, but what are they shouting about?
Right. Right.
Like, girl, this girl does makeup. Ew. That's not,
It's like,
no.
yeah.
Okay,
a lot
so
of
do
people
all
are
these
doing
other
that.
girls.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you have any tips on getting media coverage when working, as a makeup artist, facial sculptor,
Mhm.
whatever you do?
Media coverage in general.
Media cover in general, because it's hard to get those
Mhm.
quotes,
Sure.
but they're very important,
Very.
even though, the Google SEO, we can't pay for that. That's very expensive.
Yeah. You know, I think with getting media and getting attention, what people don't understand is that it's not necessarily your work that's going to get you there.
Mhm.
You have to find the editors. Go look at the magazines, go to the digital mastheads and see
Mhm.
who's where
Right.
and find them and be
Right.
like, oh, look, this beauty editor, let me see your Instagram.
Mhm.
And don't be like, yo, look at my work. You're
Right.
going to be like, hey, that's a
Right.
cute dress.
Right.
Look at that lip, bitch. Whoa, not whatever you're going to do.
Right.
You're really, but you want to build that connection. You want to be genuine.
Right.
So you want to find one that you really like. And you know what? They're going to start noticing your work.
Right.
So they're going to be like, if you do something like, let's say, fantasy makeup,
Mhm.
maybe they're not going to write you up in Allure.
Right.
But you know what? When they need a quote for nylon,
Right.
they're going to be like, let me call this girl.
Right.
Because she knows how to do this euphoria shit
Right.
that I'm about right now.
Right.
And so you need that type of exposure. So I think it's important to follow who you like and just kind of really try to build something. It obviously, at this point, your work has not been noticed.
Right.
What are you doing? Be proactive.
Right.
A lot of people just like to sit there and
Mhm.
hope
Right.
that, Allure is going to notice them.
Right.
Do you know the editors at Allure?
Right.
Do you follow them?
Right.
Do you read the articles in Allure? Like, I read articles in Allure, in InStyle, in Byrdie. I really want to know what everyone is talking about, from menopause
Mhm.
to hair care, vitamins, things like exosomes, things in tech, like beauty tech.
The beauty girls, the editor girlies know before everybody else.
That's and you know
They
what?
know.
And they're just small articles because it all happens so fast. So
Right.
you're not necessarily getting it until later when,
Right.
I read about exosomes like a year ago. And
Okay, tell us about
people don't even
that.
know what that is.
Te-
No one knows what it is yet.
Please tell us.
It's basically like stem cells. And it's
Oh.
making people very young.
Oh, I did see that. And
But you probably just saw it recently.
I saw it maybe like a month ago, but
I've known
I
about it for
yeah.
a long while. And it's just because
Have you done it?
No.
Have you done it?
No, I haven't.
I want to do it.
I
But is it
actually,
super, like, I heard it's super expensive.
it is. So I found a line, which I'm not going to say,
Mhm.
and they do exosomes. And when you open the package, it's like, these are FDA approved exosomes. So like, I'll tell you in a year. And if I end up looking crazy, it was the exosomes. If something
We'll
grows
have you
out
back
of
on the
me, yeah,
podcast.
with my growth, yeah, I'm like, don't do exosomes. No, just kidding.
Yeah, because you gotta try it first before
Yeah.
you recommend.
Yeah.
I
So I'm here.
always say you have to use products before you're like, oh my God. So I really am curious, because
Mm.
I've had facial sculpting before, and I'm gonna include the video here for you guys to see. But I was amazed. I didn't realize that my sinus was so clogged up.
Mm.
Like, I'm really curious, like, what has been the response from your clients? And like, how do you tailor the sculpting techniques to different individuals? Like, is it all like, okay, like your sinus, your jaw, like, what is it? Because for me, it was a life-changing experience.
I love to hear that. You know, it has really been, I mean, to the point where, you know, People Magazine is knocking on my door to write about me. So it has really been next level of what is happening. But about my personal clients, what they like about it is that it's tailored to them. Just like you're like, oh, my sinuses. And it's just, and then I'll know, like, when you're touching someone's face, it's so intimate that you could be like, I want to look snatched and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, girl, your jaw's a mess.
Right.
So I need to do that. And you are going to end up
Right.
looking snatched, but it's just kind of like, you could look more snatched, but you actually need tension released somewhere
Right.
more than being pretty.
Right.
And so that's just kind of like where I sneakily will just do what they need. And that's what keeps people coming back.
Right.
I mean, you end up with a snatch no matter what, but
Right.
also like you're just kind of like, whoa, I felt so much better.
Right.
I need to go again.
Yeah.
Or you're like, I'm feeling congested, and you just know that someone has
Right.
found the cure.
Because I'm like, I press my face and it's hitting.
Use a spoon.
Okay.
Get a spoon and just go to your temple from here.
Okay.
out. I'm serious.
I could also book an appointment too, but I'll do both.
Yeah.
Okay, so as someone who has worked with high-profile clients, are there any like expectations or pressures that come with it? Because everybody wants, like you said, to be snatched. And, you know, obviously, if you're working with some of the high-profile people that you work with, is it like they want this result? Because like they always get what they want. So they're like, Joseph, make me this, or do you know what I mean? Like, how do you deal with that?
You know, I think because this is very different than makeup.
Yeah.
When you go into it with makeup, they look at you and they're like, they're just looking at you, you know, they're looking at your energy, what you bring. And with this, they know you're going to help them.
Right.
So it's so different in the way that like, this is so weird. I feel like they know that they need me.
Right.
Whether they're going to be snatched or not, every single one has just been like, wow, I feel so much better not knowing it. And so it's just kind of like, I don't know. It's a very intimate thing where, you know, as a makeup artist, I wouldn't necessarily say hi to some of my clients just because, you know, I don't know. I just want to respect their privacy or whatever.
Right.
And now as a facial sculptor as well, people come up to me and they're like, oh my God, Joseph, how are? It's just such a different, because I'm actually helping them.
Right.
That it's a different level of, I don't want to say respect.
Right.
But
yeah,
I don't know what to call that thing.
Right. I mean, maybe it's like a different level of intimacy.
Yeah. I mean, my fingers are in your mouth. I know some
fingers are in your mouth.
My fingers are in your mouth.
Yeah.
You know?
Hey, friends, if you have been loving the podcast, I want you to leave 5 stars for all of our 5-star guests. Now, you already know the Life of a Makeup Artist has an amazing season ahead. And of course, we're delivering those secret episodes. So don't forget to join our backstage crew. Now, let's get back into the episode. Okay, so what advice would you give to artists looking to expand their skill set and evolve their careers?
Bro, never stop learning. Never stop learning.
But like, okay, so we'll learn what though? Anything.
Anything. You know what? I'm talking about sculpting. Go to YouTube. Look how to use a spoon.
Right.
Go to my Instagram. If you don't want to do facial sculpting, what is it that you like? You know, do you like hair?
Right.
Do you like, find a passion that's kind of close to it. Whatever you're passionate about, what's close.
Yeah.
How can you find the other thing, right? Yeah. How are you going to get a step ahead? So for me, it was facial massage, facial sculpting, and all of that stuff. So it's like, it happened naturally. So what else do you like? Like, for example, there's someone who liked vintage stuff, and then all of a sudden they're doing vintage makeup and not necessarily doing makeup anymore.
Right.
They're doing vintage things. And it's just kind of like, it that. Works. It's just, you can find something outside of it, and also helps you grow with another passion.
Yeah.
And learn more about yourself.
Yeah. That's so true. I have a friend right now. She's going to school to be an esthetician because she loves skin. Hey, Skin Bay.
That's how it
And
started.
yeah, and I love that. I just love that. And like even Bryce, who I had previously, he's already an esthetician, but now he's learning aesthetics. He's in aesthetic nursing to do injectables. So like you said, it's always learning and evolving.
Like, see, this is a perfect thing about injectables. What I want to do with, I'm working with a dermatologist right now, a New York, like board certified, to talk about how facial manipulation helps sculpting and Botox. Because what I feel like is, if you're thinking about getting Botox, I think that you should go to someone, me, no, but you should go to someone who does facial manipulation, try to get your face where it should be, and then go get your Botox injected. Because, you know, if you slept on your face a little bit more that night, they're going to be like, oh, we need to lift this and this and that. And the bitch be coming out a little crooked because that night or that time you were whatever you were doing with your face. And so I feel like if you get it drained and whatever and get the filler back where it was, I feel like you'll be able to not get so much filler, not get so much Botox, or really figure out your face posture and your alignment so it's like where it needs to be. So I think that dermatologists, plastic surgeons, I think that we need to partner up. I
like that.
To just, doesn't it make sense?
It makes a lot of sense.
So like, I need to talk to Bryce because I want to be like, listen, this is what.
Actually missed each other.
And also I feel like it's just like speaking to someone like that, it's also enlightening them because when I talked to my dermatologist, he was like, whoa, that makes total sense. And it's
He's
just
like, why did nobody else
think about that?
Yeah.
You just don't, because you don't think about touching your face. We've been taught since whoever taught that shit was a lie. How come we could touch everything else but not our face? Sure, I get it that it's a little bit, but it's not. Our skin is resilient. What are you going to say about boxers? People who box, people who fight.
They're literally punching each other in the face.
And their skin is right and tight.
Okay, so there is a point in everyone's career where they reach a level of maturation. Whether you're a makeup artist, facial sculpting, and this is a very fast-paced, ever-evolving industry. What is your strategy for staying relevant?
Honestly, it is about embracing change. I think that you have to, it sounds so crazy, just embrace change, go with the flow, because if not, if you stay stuck, you're going to be like, everything's just going to pass you by. You know, you have to evolve just as quickly as beauty. I mean, and you need to be present too, and kind of go to things to see what else is out there. You know, because when you feel like you have mastered something, you have stopped growing. You don't know it all, like you think, but there's more, because there's you should always be learning and growing. So like, if you feel you have mastered your shit, you haven't. You stopped growing. You're stuck in your old ass ways.
Because you've been using the same foundation from 15 years ago. It's fine because it works, but like, honey.
Yes, it's
other things.
Embrace the change. It's just kind of like, let's do this. Like, you know what? I was doing that LA beat. Let me do this Glossier beat. Let me do this. Let me do something different. And see if you like it.
I only do skin. Maybe try to do an extra little.
Exactly.
Something.
You know, as I was growing, I focused so many years in just editorial, so many years in just bridal, so many years in TV and film, because I really wanted to understand it. And I felt like when I was doing all of the editorials, I was just kind of like, how many more Vogues can I do?
You become bored, right?
I've done 37. I have every magazine. And I don't mean it like, look at me. I mean it in a way that it was just kind of like, people are like, why aren't you doing editorials? And I'm like, if you look at my book now, it looks like I just shot that. It's still relevant. It was always skin. It was always exactly what I wanted. If you did something kind of wild and crazy, I know that shit was from 2021. You dated it. You know what I mean? So master a different thing.
You have to be whatever you want to coin it, your bridal era,
and that's okay to focus on that for 1 year. You can't just give up. You have to, it's for you.
Yeah.
It's understanding your trade. And if you're not getting the brides, why? Ask yourself those things. Really get into critical thinking.
Yeah. Get a little SWOT analysis on yourself.
That's hard, but it's
I
true.
know, it's real fact. What's one piece of advice you wish you had known when you just started your journey of facial sculpting? Is there any one thing you wish you knew?
I guess it's not just about facial sculpting, but it's about when you go in to try to make someone feel beautiful, you have to have confidence. And that goes back into a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like just having clear intentions of what you want to do and have a good mindset going into things.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes I would feel like walking into a project for, on Vogue, and I felt like everyone was bigger in their higher up in their career than I was. And there I was. But then again, I felt intimidated. But then I would start doing my work, and I would start doing facial manipulations, because I've done facial manipulations since 2012. People were always just kind of like, oh, that's cool. But then I just felt like, oh God, like I'm a loser.
Right.
But it's just in your head. If I showed up with the confidence that I had, that, people thought I showed up confidently.
Right.
But I wasn't.
Right.
I just look like it. I know how to play the part.
Right.
So show up with real confidence and know that what you're doing there is really because you're there.
Right.
You're supposed to be.
Yeah. If you're in the room, you're supposed to be in the
You're
room.
supposed to be there.
Yeah. So looking forward, what do you envision for the next stage of your career? Are there any new skills or areas you want to explore? What's the next era?
Right now I'm in I have two eras. One right now is I'm really excited about incorporating like tech into my facials, like LED lights and microcurrent and stuff, because I definitely think that I know for a fact that they work. And so that is something that I want. And also in my beauty and mental health era, I am hoping to combine them, because mental health is so important to me. And so I want to come up with something that incorporates both of them and do them together. And one more thing, actually, which I've talked to you about, is I want to really spread the word about doing facial manipulations before a beauty prep. And I feel like so many more makeup artists need to be using this skill to stay relevant. Like, the reason Byrdie chose me as the facial sculptor, and I don't mean it, is because it is.
I voted for you.
Oh, did you? Yeah. It's the way of the future. Like,
yeah.
Maybe you're not the person that wants to be doing facial manipulations before a prep, but the fact that you would know it, and you see somebody has a crooked smile,
right,
and you could be like, oh, fuck, let me fix this.
Right, real quick.
And you just fit. Right. That's what I do. That's why people are like, wait, what did you just do?
Right.
You just fixed someone's smile before her wedding.
Right. Is there any plans to do classes?
Yep. So I want to do a small intimate masterclass with like my close friends, record that, and then just kind of like push the masterclass for makeup artists who are very interested in learning beauty on another level. So it would be more like a set way as opposed to how I do it, like a
for
full
clients.
way. Yeah. So this way they would just be more like leaning on you and how I've done facial manipulations on all the models that I've worked with. So teaching you that actual technique. And I think that we just need to change beauty prep.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to say.
Just slap on
I see the biggest makeup artists right now, or, the ones that are working with the A-listers, and they're just like, oh, and then and I'm like, child, you're not doing a damn thing.
What about the face and the ice bucket?
That works because it contracts your muscles. Like, okay, cool. Yes. But like, your makeup artist didn't do that. And if they're just barely rubbing, like, you need a little bit of pressure. And I appreciate people really rubbing lotion on the face, because that's true.
Right.
But like, wouldn't you really want to learn? You don't even have to stick your fingers in someone's mouth.
Right.
I could teach you the other things. And it's more like
Yes.
just learning how to get rid of a hooded eye.
I learned some of those techniques because I was there at the Fenty Beauty
Hey,
event, honey.
yeah.
Hey, Fenty Boo.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and it's just
like, oh,
it
I'll go home
works.
tonight and just
It works.
yeah, it
It
does.
works.
It was a long day.
So I'm up
It
to
was
3 things. I am up to all 3 of those.
But I love that because it has to evolve. If it doesn't evolve, it doesn't grow. I want to talk about mental health a little bit because I feel like, especially in this career in beauty, whether you're a corporate or an artist, like this industry is a lot. And it's like you said, it's always changing. It's always some new product. It's always some new thing. Then you got to record. Then you have to do this. And then you got to learn something. And it's like, it's unfortunate, but you have to do it, right? You have to. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And, I think we talked about this a while ago, 101 essays to change
the way you think. Yeah.
Such a good book.
You read it?
I'm like halfway there.
Good.
Halfway done. But I want you to touch on like some of the things that you do. I recently restarted therapy.
Good.
Like I spend more time in my self-care because at the end of the day, I just feel like you're not going to ever have a fulfilling life if you only have a fulfilling career.
Yeah.
It's like, that's great, but there's more to life.
I think as humans, we've evolved to like put people first. And there are a lot of selfish bitches out there. No, but like honestly, to put people first and, we forget about ourselves. And that is really what I learned in COVID. It was that I was at the peak of my career making crazy amounts of money and doing whatever I wanted. And I wasn't happy and I didn't know. And then I started taking time to like go for a walk and like not putting music in my ears, but like, what was I saying? How was I talking to myself? And it was reading books like Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself and 101 Essays to Change the Way You Think. Also, The Power of Now, The Mountain Is You. Those are all really good books. And it's just really reflecting. It's just kind of like, what makes you hurt and why? And how much of that is you holding on to something that's not real? And that's also just us letting go of like our lives and the old self. It's like us thinking about what it's like in the glory days. But the glory days are here.
Right.
And taking time to really meditate. And I know that sounds so like, oh my God, not meditation.
Right.
But yeah, you don't have to meditate like sitting in a yoga pose.
Yeah.
You could do it in the sauna and just, when you have intrusive thoughts, say something like release or learn things about yourself, reading books like this to help focus on your mental health because no one knows what you're thinking or feeling but you. And if you're lying to yourself, that's already a disaster.
Yeah.
And so just understanding that can change your career.
Yeah.
Because you might be like, I don't fucking want to do makeup anymore. I want to go into tech. Why?
Clarity.
Or what? And you need clarity with what you stand for. And that just goes back to like branding. It's like, I always knew who I was. I wanted to be a makeup artist that did really beautiful makeup, not heavy, not crazy, just beautiful for editorials. And then I ended up doing celebrity. And then it just all evolved. And now it's like, I'm so big on mental health because I got a chance to understand who I am. I knew who I was, but I know who I am now.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Read books. Or you know what? If you don't want to read, do an Audible.
Yeah.
On Audible, just listen to good stuff. And also remember, whatever you program yourself with is really what you're going to be thinking about.
So my mother, her voice note, not voice note, Lord, I sent so many voice notes. Her voicemail when I was growing up was we always used to make fun of her. She's like, what you think about, you bring about. So think positive. And I love American voice. I'm like, girl, but it's so true. And I crack up and I say it all the time now, but it's so true. And even like meditation, because I feel like sometimes when you think of meditation, you're thinking about like, oh, it's a task. And it's like, oh, I don't know if I can sit down for 10 minutes. Sometimes I'll be like, let me just close my eyes real quick on this bed. Okay, I did it. Like, like small baby steps.
But that goes back to what I was saying. Like, what you don't realize is it's for you.
Yeah.
And yet you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I spent hours taking care of my mental health now, especially now with this freaking marathon. Oh my God. I am just meditating the whole time that I'm running. But I will tell you this, with the marathon, it has robbed me of the peace that I like when I'm like in the sauna and like relaxing in my house.
Now you're like sweating.
Yeah, now I'm literally like, I cannot focus on my mental health and my wellness anymore. I have 4 hours a day of focusing on
and
it.
you have to eat all these different things.
I'm done.
It's okay. You get a break today?
Yes.
You get a break today.
I can't wait.
We're gonna have din. I really want to thank you for coming back on the podcast. I feel like there's so much to learn from someone like you, and you have always been such a wealth of information. And I think someone could be a wealth of information, but not necessarily share that information with others. And you're always have been so supportive of, everyone I see that you're around, and me especially. So I have to say thank you, like genuinely. You are such a inspiration, really.
Thank you, Jaleesa. But also, here's the thing: you take the advice. There's a lot of people that, are just stuck in their ways and they can't grow. And it's like, if someone gives you advice, really listen to it, not with your ego. And then it's small things because you wanted to grow. People want to grow, and then they move on, and then boom, it's like you blow up nation.
Yeah.
And then some people don't know how to maintain that.
Right.
But that's a different story. But it's just kind of like, really listen to nuggets of what people tell you.
Yeah. It's kind of like when you have like an established book and you go to an agent and they're like, no, you got to do, and you're like,
that.
What? Me?
Mm-hmm.
Listen.
But it's ego. It's like, someone wanted to sign me as a facial sculptor and not as a makeup artist. And my ego was about to get in the way. And in the end, I didn't end up doing the partnership because I actually couldn't use the product for what I was doing. And it kind of bothered me. And I was just kind of like, how could you? And then I was like, you know what? That has nothing to do with me. Obviously, they want this.
Right.
That's good enough.
That doesn't mean you're a bad makeup artist.
Yeah, I know. But it just, you're just in your head. And that's just where, meditation really just helps, because I'm an amazing makeup artist for what I do specifically.
Right.
And as a facial sculptor, I'm amazing at that too. But I believe it and I know it. But I do also everything with intention. I don't show up in half-ass stuff.
Right.
That's how I've gotten this far.
Yeah. That's amazing. So when is the marathon?
November 3rd.
Oh my God, are you ready? Because this episode is actually coming out after that. So we're gonna congratulate you in advance.
Okay, yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you. It's coming up and I'm excited about it. This is definitely the biggest challenge of my entire life. Like mentally,
This is your first one?
It's my first one. I'm not a runner. 3 months ago, I never ran a mile.
You're a runner. You're a track star.
I know. I never ran a mile up until 3 months ago, like never. And I pushed myself to do it. And now I'm up to 17 and I have to do 26.2. I know. I can't even believe it myself. And it's hard, but it's fun. And I think that when I'm over it, it's going to be one of the most fulfilling things of my life, of just like, I did that for me. Like, I'm doing it with a brand. I don't know how many people said no. I'm sure that they asked a lot of people. I'm sure that they asked people who do mental health stuff.
Right.
And I was one and I said yes. And they asked editors too. And people were like, oh my God, they asked me and I couldn't think of it. And I'm like, it's definitely not you. You have to be up for this is a challenge of a lifetime.
Yeah. I'm so proud of you because I don't know if I can do all that. I'm a hot yoga girl.
I wouldn't do it again, but I am so glad I did it. I might run a couple miles here and there. Like, I can easily run 3 to 5 miles now. That's not crazy. And that used to be so insane. Like, I would be like, I would never even walk a mile.
Right. Yeah.
No, I'm like, let me warm up.
I like to walk.
I'm a walker. I'm a fast Olympic girly walker. Yeah. But now I'm like, let me just run 3 miles before my trainer gets here.
Oh.
I don't know.
Who is he?
It's changing your habits. It's changing your habits, boo.
Okay, we're evolving. Okay.
In front of your eyes.
In front of our eyes. Okay, so I obviously love every time that you come on the podcast. I feel like we're gonna have to make this a yearly thing.
Aw.
But for those who might be listening for the first time, please share all of your socials so they can find you and ask you all the questions.
Yeah, sure. Actually, that would be really good. If you guys have any questions about facial sculpting or facial manipulations, my Instagram is sculpted by Joseph. And if you guys have makeup questions and or questions about beauty on another level, like learning how to do stuff on set, my makeup page is Joseph Carrillo.
Carrillo.
That's
Make sure you roll the
C-
tongue.
the Carrillo. So Joseph Carrillo. All of those are on Instagram and Sculpted by Joseph on TikTok. I need to get better at it.
But it's okay. You
I have it.
evolve. You evolve.
I'm evolving.
And of course, we will make sure, and we're tagging all of this information in the show notes. You guys know we are on TikTok, Instagram, and on YouTube. If you want to see our beautiful faces, you can search at The Life of a Makeup Artist or at Jaleesa Jaikaran, and you'll find all of the podcast episodes. And don't forget, we have a backstage crew where you can get secret episodes. Yes, I said secret episodes. We have been doing them for a very long time. And that's just between us, okay? Now, I will definitely see you guys in the next episode. Thank you guys so much for the support on the podcast. And I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.